Okay, wonderful. So hope you're all doing well and you're having a great week. And thanks for joining me for the TOEFL speaking class. So today we are going to be looking at the integrated speaking task, which is the fourth in all of the speaking tasks in the test, and it's summarize, reading, and lecture. So what you're going to need for this lesson is a notepad and pen, because I'm going to play you a bit of a lecture, and as you listen you're going to take notes as you would in the real test. So to participate you'll need to grab a pen and paper, and you'll also need your mobile phone because you're going to be using a voice recorder to record your response, because we're going to do a sample task. So you want to be able to record yourself so you can listen back to your answer and also compare it to a sample answer that I'm going to play you. So for this task, what do you have to do? So as the name suggests, summarize, reading, and lecture. You're going to read a short passage, and then you're going to listen to a related lecture. And then your job is to summarize the passage and the lecture. So sometimes the passage and the lecture are related. Obviously, they're on the same topic. Sometimes the lecture will add more information to the passage. The passage might talk about a particular topic, mention a few points, and then the lecture will add some more information. Or sometimes the lecture will contradict the information in the reading passage. So it just depends. Okay, timing. Let's take a look at timing for this task. You're going to have 45 seconds to read the passage on the screen. After that, 45 seconds, the reading passage disappears and you'll listen to an audio. It should be about 60 seconds long. You're going to be given 30 seconds to prepare your answer, and then you need to speak for 60 seconds, not 60 to 90. That's a mistake. It should be 60 seconds, 1 minute. All right, I've talked to you a little bit about note-taking in the previous sessions. So note-taking for the speaking tasks is very important, especially the ones that require you to listen. So for this particular task, because you're going to be summarizing what you hear. So unless you have an amazing memory, you're going to be needing to use the information in your notes to complete the task. Now, it's also good to take notes of the reading as well, the reading passage, and just really focusing on the main points. So you've only got 45 seconds, so you just want to sort of isolate what are the main ideas in the reading passage. So here's a sample of notes that you can prepare. Main ideas on the left, details on the right. I just do a rough division. I use my notepad and pen to divide my page into 2 columns. It just makes it sort of easier to identify my ideas that I want to use in my response. So on this particular reading passage, I've given you a clue. There's going to be 4 main ideas. So when it comes time to prepare your response, so once you've actually listened and taken your notes and read the passage, you'll want to sort of have an idea of a particular structure that you want to use. So the first thing you want to do is introduce the passage. So give the topic. What's the passage about? So the passage is about marketing principles. It discusses 3 or 4 main points. 1, 2, 3, 4. The lecture supports, contradicts, or elaborates on the points in the passage. So as I said earlier, the lecture might contradict, so oppose the points in the passage, or it might elaborate, meaning adding more information. And then you'll discuss the main points in the lecture. So this is a nice and simple sort of way to formulate or structure your presentation in your mind. Introduce the passage. What is it about? The main points. Then introduce the lecture. What does it do? Support, contradict, explain, elaborate, and the main points. Okay, are you ready to practice? So I'm going to display passage on the screen. You're going to have 45 seconds to read it. Take some notes if you like. And it's a good way to really practice your note taking and also practice working under a time limit, time pressure. 45 seconds isn't a long time. So with the reading, I recommend that you don't try to read and understand every single word because you only have 45 seconds. So really focus on sort of scanning the passage for the main points. And one way to help you do that is to look for words like firstly, secondly, the next, the most important. These are kind of like keywords that are going to help you focus on important information and kind of separate that information into separate ideas. So that's just a little clue there that you might want to apply. So read the passage and take notes. Here's the passage and your time starts now. Okay, that's your 45 seconds. I'll just walk you through the passage really quickly and elaborate a little bit on what I was talking about before relating to scanning. So the first sentence here says the 4 P's of marketing. So I know that I'm going to be scanning here for 4 ideas that start with P. And it tells me in the first sentence what they are: product, price, place, promotion. So I'm going to be scanning the passage looking for those 4 words. So the first P is product. Keep scanning, keep scanning, keep scanning. Price. There's price, another main idea. Keep scanning, keep scanning, keep scanning. I've got here promotion. Okay, and I've missed place. I've missed the third one. So I need to go back and scan the passage to find place. And where is that? Can you guys see it? Place, there it is. Okay, so using those sort of clues that are given in the first sentence, usually the first sentence will tell you what the passage is going to be about and what to kind of look for. Okay, and so once you find product, you can quickly just skim that sentence to tell you what product is. It's what customers are expecting to get. Okay, place, what is place? It's about availability. And there they've given the example of a mall, shopping center, or online. The next P is price. So good value. Keep going. What do we have next? Promotion. And we've got advertising, PR, sales. All right, so you're just really sort of isolating main ideas rather than really reading to understand every single word in that passage. Okay, next step is listening to a lecture. So listening and taking notes. Here's a sample of my listening note breakdown. All right, here goes.
In the late 70s, it was widely acknowledged by marketers that the marketing mix should be updated. This led to the creation of the Extended Marketing Mix in 1981, which added 3 new elements to the 4 Ps principle. The first addition is people. All companies are reliant on the people who run them, from frontline sales staff to the managing director. Having the right people is essential because they are as much a part of your business offering as the product services you're offering. Next is processes. The delivery of your service is usually done with the customer present, so how the service is delivered is once again part of what the consumer is paying for. And the third is physical evidence. Almost all services include some physical elements, even if the bulk of what the consumer is paying for is intangible. For example, a hair salon would provide their client with a completed hairdo, and an insurance company would give their customers some form of printed material. Even if the material is not physically printed, in the case of PDFs, they are still receiving a physical product by this definition. Though in place since the 1980s, the 7 Ps are still widely taught due to their fundamental logic being sound in the marketing environment and marketers' abilities to adapt the marketing mix to include changes in communications such as social media, updates in the places which you can sell a product or service, or customers' expectations in a constantly changing commercial environment.
So after you hear the lecture, you're going to have a prompt displayed on your screen, and it's going to look something like, let me just find my place, something like this. Explain the marketing mix and how the information given by the lecture expands on it. So you need to explain the marketing mix that was first introduced to you in the reading passage. And then you need to explain how the information given by the lecture expands on it or gives further information. So you're going to have 30 seconds to prepare your response. And this is where your notes come in handy. So again, remembering that when you think about how you're going to present your response, the first thing you want to do is introduce the reading. So the reading discusses. And then the main points of the reading. The lecture, what does the lecture do? It expands, it supports, it gives further information, okay, by adding and then the points that are discussed in the lecture. All right, so here's your 30 seconds preparation time. All right, time is up. How did you feel about that, the 30 seconds prep time? It doesn't seem like a lot, so you don't want to be writing out or trying to write out your entire presentation. You're not going to have enough time to do that. You really just kind of want to look at your notes and think about how you're going to integrate them, how you're going to make sense of that information in a logical way. So it is now time for you to speak. So this is where you want to get your phone. Open up your voice recorder if you have a voice recording application and get ready to record your response. Okay, your 60 seconds starts now. Okay, did you manage to cover all of the points in the 60 seconds? So with the timing, some people ask, do I have to speak for the entire 60 seconds? What if I finish early? Will I lose points? You don't have to speak for the entire 60 seconds. So even if you speak for 55 seconds, it's okay. This is what a TOEFL examiner has actually told me, as long as you give a full and complete answer. Now, what does full and complete answer mean? It means that you cover all of the points. You introduce the ideas in the passage and give the main points. with some supporting evidence or examples. And then you introduce the lecture, say what the lecture does, and then support that with points from the lecture itself. So as long as you do that and you cover all the main ideas, you should be okay. What you don't want to do is sort of think that you've got a bit of extra time and then start sort of adding information that relates back to the reading passage, because then your answer is going to be a little bit disjointed, and you want to try to follow a really nice logical flow and order. So you don't have to speak until your time runs out, but you do want to try to finish at 60 seconds. You don't want it to sort of cut you off. So this is just going to come with practice timing yourself, and that's why we use the phone and the voice recorder on your phone, so that you really get a feel for what does a minute feel like when you're speaking. All right, I'm going to now play you a sample response. But before I do, I'm going to show you my notes and you can compare them to yours. So my reading notes, my main idea was the 4 Ps, which were product, price, place, and promotion. Product was what customers expect. Price was value for money. Place was easily available, more or online. Promotion, ads and social media. So that's my information. You can see that I have not used really full sentences, and I haven't really sort of covered every single detail. I've just chosen or isolated the definitions of each of these 4 Ps. Now with the listening, what did it do? It introduced 3 new Ps to total 7, and that happened in 1981. The 3 new Ps were people, processes, and physical evidence. People was related to right people in the company, employees, which are part of the business. Processes were related to delivery of service. And physical evidence is related to tangible and intangible services and products. For example, a hairstyle or insurance. My preparation was something like this. The topic of the passage is the 4 Ps of marketing. And then I explain that their product, which is customer expectation, price, which is value, place is availability, and promotion is advertising. The lecture elaborates on the 3 extra Ps, people related to the organization, process related to delivery, and physical evidence related to tangible, intangible products or services. And you can see that your notes do not have to be grammatically correct. They don't have to be spelt correctly. No one's going to see your notes. So if you want to sort of use abbreviations like org instead of writing out the whole word organization, or phys-ev for physical evidence, that's going to save you time. So these are kind of little shortcuts that you can use in your notes and your preparation. Okay, let's hear a sample response.
The passage introduces the 4 Ps of marketing: product, price, place, and promotion. It defines the product as what the consumer expects to receive. Price should be determined according to value. Place is where the product is most easily available to consumers, and promotion is how the product reaches the consumer through advertising and social media. The lecture elaborates on the passage by introducing a further 3: people, process, and physical evidence. According to the lecture, people are just as important as the product. Process is how the product or service is delivered. Finally, physical evidence of the product could be intangible, like a hairstyle or endurance, but these are still a physical product.
Okay, what did you think of that sample response? So you can see that he finished with a few seconds left to go, about 6 seconds left to go, but he did sort of cover all of the information that needed to be covered. So in other words, his answer was full and complete, even though he had a few seconds to spare at the end. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to show you the transcript of that response and give you a chance to read it. Okay, so now you can compare, I guess, the sample that you heard to your own response. You might want to, after the end of this class, go back and listen to the response that you recorded and then compare it to the one that you heard. Let's take a quick look at evaluation. So a 4 is the highest you can get in the integrated speaking task, and the scores are related to delivery, which is how fluid and well-paced your speech is. So that means no stops and starts to think about words or think about what you want to say. So the sample response that you heard was quite fluid. It's also related to pronunciation and how clear your pronunciation is. Language use is related to grammar, so you want to be able to use complex grammatical structures and effective word choice, so more advanced and sophisticated vocabulary. Topic progression is related to the presentation of your ideas, so how logically they progress from one idea to another, as well as how those ideas connect to each other through using connecting words. So you might want to think about, looking at that rubric, what score you would give the sample response that you heard. So you can type in your response into, or your score into the chat box. All right, I'm just going to take a look at your comments. Yeah, so most of you have said 3 or 4 or 4. So yeah, you're right, that was a pretty high level response, and I would probably say between a 3 and a 4, okay, is what that would get in the real test. So how would you rate your own response compared to that? So I'll just display the rubric again for you. I think everyone is probably afraid to give themselves a score, which is okay. What you can do is go back and listen to yourself again, listen to your own response and compare it to the one that you heard. And it's really just an activity for you to sort of see, where do you need to improve? Do you need to focus more on your delivery, so more on your pace and your fluency? Do you need to focus more on your grammar and vocabulary? Or is it really about organizing your ideas? So when you listen to your response, take or keep into mind those 3 things that the examiners are listening for: fluency, grammar and vocabulary, and topic development or organization. All right, guys, thank you so much. Great work coming here today and taking this opportunity to learn more about the TOEFL speaking as well as practicing. And I'll see you next week, where we're going to look at task 5. All right, so have a great week and I'll see you next time.